What's up, everybody? Welcome into a week 3 edition of the Skolcial Network before we play the Houston Texans in Minnesota on Sunday. Brev, I know you just found out about the injury report that we're going to dive into a little bit. What are the vibes? Give me a vibe evaluation.
Um, I don't really know because I still feel fine. Like if you're missing Jordan Addison, like that sucks. But I feel like after last week, they kind of proved they could make do. So, you wouldn't want Jalen Naylor to be your wide receiver one all game. Obviously, he won't be because Jefferson will be. But yeah, I don't really know. I'm kind of sad that Dallas Turner is going to be out, but that's more just I want him to get reps. Not I think he'll make a super big impact on the game, which would be cool if he did. But I don't know. I feel it doesn't really. I don't think that keeps us from winning this game potentially.
What about IP?
Ivan Pace too. Like if I had to choose one of the inside linebackers to be out, it would be Ivan Pace instead of Blake Cashman. So if you gotta choose one, I'd rather Cashman play, but I think I would trust Josh Metellus to kind of step into a more of a role down in the box if Ivan Pace can't go.
Yeah, and we have a couple options there, but I think the assumption is it's probably going to be Metellus floating in there. You have Asamoah. I'm trying to remember who's the name of the other guy with two last names. Um,
Kamu
yeah,
Gruger Hill.
Gruger Hill. Yes, I always forget that. His wife is like a TikTok influencer apparently too. Oh, are we going to talk about Ivan Pace starts dating a TikTok model TikTok like celebrity and then gets injured? Is there a curse?
I didn't
You
know
you
that
haven't been
happened.
online this week. Oh, we have to talk after. There is there is this some insane TikTok drama, and Ivan Pace is right in the middle of it.
Good.
Anyways. If it's no, it's like potentially bad, potentially throwing off my guy's vibe. Um, anyways, yeah, it's gonna sound crazy if I explain it on this podcast. But if you're curious, look into it. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I trust Brian Flores to put the right people in the right places. I think my biggest concern, given the fact that they're likely going to be on RB3 and Akers, and like we got love for Akers, but I don't think he's like a threat. I'm going to end up eating these words, aren't I? Um, I think I'm not out of Joe Mixon or the other options. I'm not crazy worried against our run defense. Um, but Nico Collins being clear to go, that does scare me a little bit more just because they have three really damn good receivers.
He's dating Cody Ford's ex.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this. So
Okay.
she broke up with Cody Ford. She did TikToks with this like dude. I don't know.
Because he
It's
because he
like
cheated. He cheated on her.
yeah. So, anyways, she did a TikToks with this guy like this past weekend. Bunch of Vikings fans catch her on the sideline hanging out with IP's mom and wearing like a Vikings like t-shirt and like hugging up on Ivan Pace and all this. A girl makes a TikTok being like, oh yeah, here's all my credentials from the Vikings preseason home game against the Raiders when I was dating Ivan Pace, and he told me he wasn't looking for anything serious. The guy that this Tatiana, I think her name is, girl
Team.
was hanging out with on Saturday or Friday makes a song about like, oh, I see you in Minnesota. He made a song already. I see you in Minnesota, like hugging up on this guy. Does he know what we did last night? Like, insane. So then she makes a TikTok basically talking about like she's just gonna take a step back today and focus on her. Um, so there is TikTok drama potentially affecting this team because shockingly, Ivan Pace, we find out had a quad injury and then he hurts his ankle while rehabbing the quad injury. Do I think he's not really injured and is instead coming up with a TikTok response? Possibly, probably not, but I think it's funny for the narrative.
Wow, I don't miss being connected.
Oh, it's I had seen the TikTok of this girl on the sideline without knowing who she was, and then my wife explained it to me. Um, and then now I'm getting the videos. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
very weird. Our friend Leighton made a video talking about how uh, the Bengals had nothing but bad luck when she was around and how he did not want them dating. So
Awesome.
maybe he got his wish.
I should have known that the only thing that could kill the magic to this team this year would be TikTok and the internet.
A TikTok influencer may have brought down the Minnesota Vikings. What a
Cool.
sentence. Um, anyways, so heading into this game, it it's gonna be hard for the Vikings to win. I guess I'd ask you because I don't watch a lot of Texans games. What is their obviously they have a defensive head coach compared to the Niners having Shanahan, but like where would you rank their defense compared to what we face with San Francisco?
I guess off of not looking at too many of the numbers as a whole, they're in the same league for sure, especially off creating pressure because Daniil
Pass
Hunter
rush.
has he is the second most pressures in the NFL, and I think him and Will Anderson both are in the top four for pass rush win rate, like pressure rate. So that's not good, especially when Christian Darrisaw hasn't been the Christian Darrisaw that we know and love the last couple weeks. And I think Darrisaw, he's already allowed a handful of pressures this year, and four of them are at less than 2.5 seconds. Um, and four of them came last week. Understandably, he's going against Nick Bosa, but he's also going to be going up against Will Anderson, who hasn't really gotten his flowers yet just because of how young he is. But Will Anderson is really, really, really good. So, assuming you get Darisaw versus Anderson and O'Neal versus Daniil Hunter, um, like you feel good in your tackle duo, and I don't think any of us are unhappy with who's at the tackles. But this is pretty much of a challenge as you'll face in just like a pass rush alone all year long. And I'm happy it's going to be figured out, or you're getting that out of the way week 3, and it's out of conference, and you have momentum. So
Yeah. Funny you say that because a tweet just popped up by Judd Solgad over at Score North. From Vikings PR, when blitzed, Sam Darnold boasts a perfect passer rating this season of 158.3, 8 for 8, 207 passing yards, averaging 25.9 yards in attempts, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So
mhm.
maybe this will literally force Sam Darnold to be GEQB US and just absolutely go off.
Yeah, he's perfect against the blitz, and I was actually going to mention that too. I wonder where Judd got that stat from. Probably where I got it from. But yeah, and also Darnold's going to be looking toward the slot a lot. So if you're a betting individual, look up who plays in the for the Vikings in the slot the most, because Sam Darnold throws to the slot receiver the sixth highest amount in the NFL so far this year. So uh, yeah, do with that information what you will.
Well, another interesting chart just came up. I've been following a lot of chart accounts. So the Vikings and Texans have similar blitz rates.
Hmm.
Vikings a little closer to 40%, Texans right around the 30% number. But the pressure rate versus that amount, the Vikings get pressure on close to 50%, and the
Hmm.
Texans are more so around the 35% mark. This chat looks like, or this chart coming by fball underscore insights, um, looking at fantasy points in NFL FASFR TR. I don't know what that means. It's a chart. Charts can say anything. But I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. I think you could say Darisaw has an advantage because he knows how to handle O'Neal from practice, but or not O'Neal, Hunter from practice. But you could also say the exact opposite, right? Like they're familiar with each other to an extent. They went up against each other every day in practice. Um, but we lost Brev, our typical uh, tech issue to roll out a Friday show. Gotta love it. Hi, Brev. Should I bring you out of purgatory? I think I will.
It was
Typical tech
flawless.
issue.
It was flawless until like the last 5 seconds. I don't know. Everything's still fine. I have no idea what happened, but I heard what you were saying, so continue.
Anyways, I don't know. I'm obviously I want to win. Like, and I think if we do win, especially saying last week, like, hey, being out Jefferson for the last quarter, being out Addison and Hogg and being able to beat that team. Yes, they were missing CMC, but like we were missing some big names too. Like that is a like, huge badge of honor to say you won that game. If we're able to do that again this week, then we're having and we say this every week, but like a much different conversation about what this team really is. But at the same time, if we lose this game, I am not stressed in any way. If we lose like 73 to like 2 because CJ Stroud gets fancy and gets a safety, like I'll be concerned. But like if we lose like a well-played game, it's a non-conference opponent. We intentionally are sitting 3 guys who could probably go, um, knowing we have our first divisional matchup next week.
Yeah, and going into the game, like thinking of how we were going to go into this game before the season, we'd probably be thinking like the Vikings are going into the game as the dominant 2-0 team. And if you're if you see into the future and you see there's a dominant 2-0 team going into the game, you'd think it's Houston. But it's Minnesota. Like Houston's 2-0 is not nearly as impressive as Minnesota's 2-0.
Especially
So
considering who'd they play in week 1? I know they
they
played the
played
Bears last week.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, and if I remember, like they did not run away with that game.
No, it was like 29-27. And I don't give too much credence. Like I don't look too much into divisional
Games.
matchups, but like they were, and the Bears defense is really good. So flowers to the Bears defense, but uh, I can't like hate on Houston for winning a mad game, but they were in a one-score game with a Caleb Williams who was very unimpressive.
Yeah. I'm I don't know. Like you could go into this game and say if you look at the stats and well, not even all the stats because they're very comparable in a lot of ways, but if you look at the opponents, yes, the Vikings played who will likely be one of the top 2 or 3 or not top 2, bottom 2 or 3 teams in the league in week 1. I don't think Indy or Chicago are there. Um, but then beat one of the top 5 teams, top 3 or 4 teams, even debatably in the NFL. So we have a staple win in the first 2 weeks. Houston doesn't have a staple win. But like to your point, those divisional games, like how many times have the Vikings been mid to bad and beat the Packers once or twice in a season? Like those divisional games are just different. The Lions beat a decent Viking squad when they hadn't won a game all year. So like that's a completely fair point. Um, I know I'm saying that I won't be upset if we lose, but I also know me well enough to know that if we lose, I'm going to jump off a building.
Yeah, no, of course. Like it's so easy to say now, and then on Sunday, especially if it's close, like and it's a game we should have won, you'll be like, 3-0 would have been cool.
Yeah, but I'd almost rather have that and just be like, hey, we can hang with the big dogs
Oh yeah.
than to like get the shit kicked out of us like we had happen against Dallas a couple years ago.
Well, I definitely don't want to get the shit kicked out of us, but like I feel like losing close wouldn't really do much for me in the realm of hey, we can keep it close because like the Vikings always play close, so I don't think that would move me much.
Okay, well that's a fair point. Stop being reasonable.
Sorry.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say objectively, like, and I've already kind of said it, but like, I agree with sitting the 3 guys you're sitting. I
Hmm.
would have almost like I'm very confident that there's no concern at all about Jefferson because I think if there was even some concern, you sit him too. Like
Was he
I
on the
know
injury report at all?
he was, and today he was off.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was a limited participant, I think, the last 2 days.
Hmm.
So you know, I think going into a divisional game, it's somebody tried fighting with me saying like tiebreakers don't apply this early in the season. I'm like, it's stupid to apply them, but technically they apply because I said there's no scenario in which the Vikings aren't in first place because the Bears' only win was an AFC team, and the Vikings will have been the only team I think not to have an NFC loss.
Yeah, the Vikings can't be out of first in the division after. this
Yeah,
week.
and so people are like, it doesn't matter. It's only week 3. Tiebreakers don't count. I'm like, they count in the order of who shows up on the picture, and that's all I care about for flexing purposes. But I'd
And
rather us take that risk of losing this weekend and being ready to go for Green Bay.
well, don't be mistaken either. Like the Vikings win over the 49ers is huge for later in the season too, especially if it comes
100%.
down to seeding. So
Because we're playing the NFC West. The division is.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
we have games at the Rams, yeah,
Hmm.
and Cardinals. We have so like the division is playing. So like if San Fran beats Detroit and Green Bay, I'm not too worried about Chicago. But suddenly, like that's again significant for us.
Hmm.
To your point, so there I'm people get so weird on Twitter, shockingly. But they're like, no, we can't afford to not be at full bore against a really good team. I'm like, it's a game of chess. Like you
Hmm.
have to think, how can you set yourself up for success? Clearly the coaching staff and everyone in the building and really starting to be the fan base is believing this team can make the playoffs, whether that's as a wild card or even winning the division, based off what we see Jared Goff and Jared Love do. Um,
Jared
but
Love.
did I say Jared Love?
You said Jared Goff and Jared Love. But Jordan
Jordan
Goff and
Love.
Jared Love.
Yes. I realize I said it wrong, but I
Yes.
didn't. You ever say something and you're like, something I said was wrong, but I don't know what I said was wrong
Yeah,
because
and
I
you
was in
tried
a
to move
flow?
past it. Oh, it's all right.
Jordan Love, Jared Goff.
You
Jordan
sure?
Love's probably not playing this week, but probably will return against the Vikings. Who knows at what capacity or strength he'll be at. And then Jared Goff, ups and downs. Um, so, like, you want to be ready to go. You want to have your full team. If Addison's ready to go next week, you play him. I don't think he's a guy you sit against Jair because he smoked the hell out of him last year. Even though he'll probably go against Jets, I don't think they'll do that matchup again.
Maybe. I can't tell the
Well, who
future.
else would they? Who else would they put on Jefferson?
I can't. I see him like an ultra casual right now. I can't name. Is Eric Stokes still there? I don't know.
You haven't heavily researched the Green Bay Packers roster yet.
I haven't gotten there yet.
I do want to take a look at like kind of maybe this could be good to do because it looks a little different now. But let's look at our next set of games with what we know now. So obviously Texans this weekend. I think that game's winnable, but I think it's going to be insanely tough. Um,
The Packers Jets bylines.
yes,
I know ball.
Packers winnable. I think it just depends on Jordan Love what actual percent of himself he's at. But even then, like we saw last year in that first game, like Brian Flores really messed with him.
Hmm.
And then we had to kind of change our defensive strategy in the second game because we didn't have a quarterback, so we had zero offense. So like I think that played a factor.
Hmm.
Um, Jets didn't they haven't moved me in any way, shape, or form.
I don't even know what to think about them. Honestly,
I'm really confused. All I know is
even
they almost murdered Drake May in the one drive he played last night.
yeah, even if we beat them, I still don't know what I'd think about the Jets.
Yeah, Lions. I'm in that same position. I don't quite
Mhm.
know who they are at this point. A
Yeah,
lot of talent, but
I'm more confident that the Lions will be fine
than the
instead of
Jets. Oh,
the
I
Jets.
agree with that. Rams similar to the Jets again in my mind. Like they've shown highs and they've shown inconsistencies.
That's out of our next 4 games. I think that's the easiest win.
Really, even more than
They
the
have,
Jets.
everybody's hurt.
Well, that's true.
Their entire
I
team
guess
is
that's.
gone.
And then you have Colts, Jaguars, Titans, Bears, which is a stretch of 4 games that should all be wins.
Just the worst football we will ever watch are going to be played in those games, and I'm really not excited for that stretch. It's going to be the most boring set of Vikings games of my life.
Hey, maybe the Bears will actually have some form of a healthy receiving core, and it might be interesting. But
Maybe.
even then, all we know is that the Vikings pass rush is going to ruin Caleb Williams' life.
I hope so.
I hope so. Cardinals, I think they're better than we expected, but I
Who's
don't
we?
necessarily think they're a top team yet.
Who's we?
Oh yeah,
Who's
you
we?
were a little higher on them going into the season than
I
a lot of
was
others.
for some reason. It came to me in a dream.
Yes. Falcons, uh, I don't know what we're
All
dealing
bets
with
are
there.
off in that game. Honestly,
Yeah. That has the potential. This is a bold prediction I'm willing to make now. Just watching these teams and how they look, that has the potential to turn into a weird shit show Thursday night football against the Rams game where it's just a absolute nuke fest for some reason.
that would rock.
I don't know why, but I could just see it as Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, schlong measuring contest, and both defenses are just gassed by the second quarter.
And this is only based off the first two games, so that's pretty much no basis. But that game is in the window of when games start getting flexed, and these teams
I think so,
might
yeah.
be vying. They're probably going to be in the same boat, like for the playoff position that they're battling for. So
Either
they're
leading their division or within the
uh,
fifth, because there's seven teams, right, that get in.
yep.
Yeah,
And
5 to 7 seed.
the Buccaneers very well could be in control of, or I mean, the Saints could be. That division is better than we thought outside of Carolina, obviously.
I have to find it and send it to you since you're taking a Twitter break. But somebody did a detailed metric breakdown of 2016, 2020, 2024 Derek Carr. Election year
Election
Derek
years,
Carr
yeah, yeah.
is. I seen somebody mention that, but somebody did like a detailed,
Hmm.
like every metric PFF measurement that you can go through, and it is
Scary.
I it is weird. I would not want to play them in that in an election year.
Like election year, Derek Carr, mega church city, Kirk Cousins,
Cousins
and strip club city, James Harden.
and pre Call of Duty Kyler Murray
Yes, as we're seeing now.
/ non double XP weekend Kyler Murray.
Yes, yes.
Chicago again at home. I am fully preparing to uh, go out there, have a ton of fun at a tailgate, get to wear white with everybody, and watch a very boring football game that we should win. Seattle, that game is more interesting. I thought it would be evenly matched, but now it's like, oh, two teams that again could be vying for a playoff spot, evenly matched. It's a little more interesting.
Hmm.
Packers again, and then Detroit. I don't know. This team could win 10 games, dude. 11 games, maybe.
They're ahead of the pace now.
Because, like,
We're in the hard part now, and they're already 2-0.
Texans, Packers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you win two of the next 5 against Houston, Green Bay, Jets, Lions, Rams. And then, so that puts you at 4 wins. Then you go on a 4-win streak from the Colts game up to the Cardinals game. You're at 8 wins already.
Yep,
And that leaves you with the Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, Seahawks, Packers, and Lions. And if you can get 2 wins in that window, you're a 10-win team. You're in the playoffs.
probably. Very good. Local man discovers math. If you win 10 games,
Local
you're a
man,
10
local.
team.
Well, no, but I'm saying
I
like
know how the
it's
schedule
just
lines up.
it's just I said it like I think I said on Monday's episode something I was talking to somebody at the game about, and I'll say it again. Like I was not emotionally prepared to believe in this team. I was optimistic. Like we both talked about our ceilings and floors. Like what twice we did that.
Hmm.
Um, and I think we're about around 10 to 12 wins as the absolute best case scenario. World's falling apart around every other team, but like to actually see like a very realistic path for that to happen, barring any serious setbacks, is crazy.
You know, it makes you appreciate Kevin O'Connell.
I How did we tolerate for so long, especially during this offseason, people like just ridiculing him to the extent that they were?
Yeah, I don't think he deserved ridicule, but I think people weren't wrong to be like, hmm. 'Cause, I mean, we
There's
just
some
hadn't
things.
we'd only seen 2 years so far. So like,
Yeah, things like clock management and some of his play calls in key situations I thought could use some work, but like he's a sick, he had 2 years as a head coach. And again, we're talking about a 2 game sample size, but like we both said, both of his games so far have been start to finish well coached games, aside from what one drive in each game that was legitimately kind of spotty.
mhm. My main thing that always like made me sound more sour on Kevin O'Connell, even though I wasn't, was me pushing back on people calling him a quarterback whisperer for like zero reason and only because he came from like the McVay Shanahan tree. That's the only time where I was like, I mean, that's just kind of a lie, and we don't know that yet. But now it's seeming to take some fruition. I just think people were a little quick on that because he was he had Kirk Cousins, who was already a good quarterback. So I don't.
If he gets us to the playoffs with Sam Darnold having a resurgent year, are you willing to admit that now?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with admitting it. Just when people were calling him a quarterback whisperer, like when he became the head coach, I'm like, what quarterback did he help develop?
What quarterback did he whisper to?
Yeah, he didn't. He like, whispered to Matt Stafford, who was already one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't. He whispered to Josh Dobbs for a week and a half.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing about Dobbs is like I think Kevin deserves credit for like getting what he did out of Dobbs, but people
Yeah.
forget like Dobbs' most success came from when he wasn't doing what he was asked to do because he didn't know how to do it.
If only
Once
there
we
were a
started once we started to run an offense with him, things fell off the rails.
if only there were a smart, good-looking fellow with a theory that many quarterbacks play better when they don't know what to do and all they know is, "Hey, go ball." I wish somebody brought that up before.
If only that person had a Twitter account that was active.
Yeah. At
Maybe
at Real Joe Spinoza.
no, you said good looking.
Just a good-looking guy. Love Joe. Hope he's having a good day.
Maybe in 1938 Germany. But uh as uh as we approach this game, what is your final score prediction?
You can't say that and then ask me a question immediately afterward. Um. Oh my. I think you can see my prediction on VikingsTerritory.com. So if you want to go look there.
But has that like
No,
I'm
it's 20. It's 24-19 Vikings.
okay, but has that changed given the news of the injury report?
22-19 Vikings.
Okay.
2 point
We'll take
difference.
it. Man, you really have us slowing down. Um so that would put Houston at 2 weeks in a row scoring 19 points, I believe.
Yeah. I almost put my first inclination was put 23-17. I was like, wait.
Yeah, I don't I don't know how many mathematic would that be scoreagami in the sense of score that exact score being 2 weeks in a row by the same team?
Probably not. I don't
I don't know if
know.
that counts as scoreagami, but I'm sure it's something.
Score again, Anami.
I I have the Vikings winning 28-24 if and only if we do the right thing and down a kick or a punt at our own 1 yard line.
Mm.
Because then what I'm going to do is for a third week in a row, I'm going to tweet Sam Darnold 99-yard legacy drive incoming, and I'm going to be correct for a third week in a row. If we do not make the smart decision and do that, I have us losing 24-21.
Now, if you do that for a third week in a row, that would be Sam Darnold 99-yard drive back to back to back Agami.
Yes. Do you just add Gami to everything? Is that going to be your new bit?
No, Agami.
Brev deletes Twitter again, Gami.
That would be the second time Agami.
On
Will
that
there be
note,
a third time Agami? Is he coming back Agami?
Oh,
Probably
you'll be
Gami.
back. You'll be back. Yeah, you can't stay out of the mosh pit that long. You
I
got
just
to
like
get in there. And,
I just like getting paid for my opinions,
hey, Elon really helping me out with like the $18. So
I
I
don't remember the
agree.
last time Elon paid me. Agami.
You haven't. If it's been a while, this goes out to anyone else who's watching who's verified on Twitter and is part of the ad share. Check your monetization. You might have to upload a new picture of your ID because they had everyone do it and then changed the platform because the other one sucked. So you have to do it again. Once I did that, I got back paid for like 2 months and it was like $80. It was sick.
ID Agami.
Anyways, thank you for watching the Skolcial Network Agame. Please, if you are interested in attending the Vikings game, whether it be this week or in Lambeau, or I'm assuming maybe in London, what is that? I have no idea what that is. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Okay.
I'm assuming it might work for London, but go on SeatGeek, use code BREV or use code JasonH. Good job. Glad you're taking care of the arches. To save $20 off your first purchase, go catch a Vikings game. There's a lot of exciting things to witness this year. We are not sponsored by Dr. Squatch, but I think Brev, we need to get you working on that. I think that's a good one. We gotta partner with at this point.
For sure.
On that note, we will see you guys either Sunday afternoon or Monday. But Skull Vikes, remember, and this is mainly for myself, if we win, we're going to the Super Bowl. And if we lose, no harm, no foul. Until there is.
Agami.